Herculez, we're digging into the real estate section for our latest MLS transfer link. Alexis Sanchez has reportedly bought a $2 million+ apartment outside Miami, sparking rumors he could be Inter Miami's first star. Ale, I'll start with you. He's 31 years old. He's coming off a pretty serious ankle injury. What do you think Alexis Sanchez has left in the tank?
Not much. It's a 31-year-old, but similar to a discussion that we had a couple of weeks ago, it's a old 31-year-old. We were talking back then about Cesc Fabregas, and in this case, for Alexis Sanchez, what I would say is that it's a guy that at his best depends on the change of pace, on the dynamic movement, of his ability to get in and out of tight spaces with that ability of taking people on and having that innate skill set of creating separation with that change of pace. Well, that doesn't seem to be quite there anymore, to the point to where you just mentioned the ankle injury, but even before there was an injury and an injury history for Alexis Sanchez, what you can say is that his performance and his productivity was fully in decline. Let's not forget, here's a guy that essentially was shown the door by Manchester United, with Manchester United taking huge losses on what was Alexis Sanchez, simply because they were saying, man, we can't do this anymore. And let's not forget the current status of Manchester United at that time. There's a team that needed attacking players, that needed attacking talent, and they decided, it's best for us not to have this guy here. He's better off somewhere else than us having to deal with this because of the player he has become. Now, specifically to your question and Inter Miami, I would say if you're expecting that same version of a guy that can break people down in 1v1 situations, that can get to the end, like that can cut inside so many, like we saw him do with Arsenal for so many years and so many different times, I don't think that's what you're getting. You are getting a veteran player, if you will, an older player, and those legs have seen a lot of action and a whole lot of miles. I don't know that you're getting anywhere near the best of Alexis Sanchez. In fact, I know you're not.
Herc, what do you think? Would it be the right signing for Inter Miami?
It's difficult because Ali brings up how, I don't want to say bad, but how non-existent he's been for the last 2 years. He hasn't really played a whole lot. This is a player that at Barcelona was a very good player, top player. The few years he was at Arsenal, he was arguably their best player. He goes to Man United, and it's over. He gets this huge contract, and that has to be a factor because he still has that contract to bear. It's, I think $500,000 a week. If you do the math, it comes out to just under $30 million a year. I don't know where Inter's going to get that. I don't know what Manchester United is going to look for him if they can sell him. It's a very, very tough sell if you're an Inter Miami fan. If I'm a pundit in Major League Soccer, Ali spoke about what he doesn't have anymore in his tank. Yes, in his time, very strong player, creative in tight spaces. He spoke about the acceleration. He spoke about how good he can be. But it reminds me of when Ali mentioned a few weeks back about Gareth Bale, if mentally he wants to be there. Because I see a player in the last few years who hasn't really played much. So I don't know if it's so necessarily the physical aspect or it's mental. If he hasn't bought into himself, he hasn't bought into it. A lot of players, and I would say this in the last 3-4 years before we've seen this change in Major League Soccer, we've seen Major League Soccer as this, I'm going to go to the States, I'm going to take some time off, I want to just play for fun. I'm not going to sit here and say because he bought an apartment that it's all set and he's already thinking about Inter Miami, because every major Latino celebrity, even our own Alejandro Moreno, has a second home in Miami, so that shouldn't even be a factor. But you have to start wondering if maybe he's just –
Well, that is true. That is true.
If he's looking for this change of scenery. And if that's the case, do I think he'd be a productive player within Major League Soccer? Yes, to an extent. Do I think he could be that star player that Inter Miami needs? No.
I mean, that's the other question here, Ale, isn't it? The off the field. Is he a big enough star?
He is very well known, but is he a big super duper star? Does he have the crossover power? I don't think so. Does he have the allure and the appeal? I don't think so. And so when you're making these investments in Major League Soccer, you're making it it's a twofold investment. You're banking on a player being productive for you on the field, but you are also banking on this guy making a splash off the field. And I just don't think that Alexis Sanchez has that in his game, not in this market anyway. Look, Alexis Sanchez has been a tremendous player. a great player for many years and has been the standout player for what was a very good and very successful Chile national team. But those days are long gone for both Alexis Sanchez and his national team. And it all really comes from the fact that, much like Arturo Vidal, here's a guy that depends on his energy and his level of activity. And once those legs start going, and now it's not so much about you having the physical ability, but now you have to mentally get your way around the field. And you have to come to terms with the fact that you're not nearly as good a player, as explosive a player as you were in years past. I just haven't seen him reinvent his game. I haven't seen him reinvent his style, and therefore he has stagnated. And if I'm Inter Miami, if I don't get what I want from him off the field, and I don't think I'm going to get what I want from him on the field, I think that answers the question.
Herc, you mentioned that salary, $500,000 a week, something like $18.2 million a year, I think last year. He'd have to take a pay cut coming here, wouldn't he?
A massive, anywhere he goes, because he's not going to stay at Inter, he's going to take a massive pay cut anyways, because I don't think anybody's going to take a chance on him. Post-pandemic, less. If you go to Major League Soccer, I think it's with the understanding that he's going to take a massive pay cut. And if I'm Inter Miami, I don't think the risk-reward really pans out for me. He doesn't have the star appeal. In a market like Miami, the Chilean national team is on the decline. He's on the decline himself, both at club and country. It's a risk that I'm not sure I'm willing to take if I'm Jorge Mas and David Beckham. And listen, David Beckham, Jorge Mas, they've promised us this star player. If I'm Inter Miami, if I'm a fan, and we get Alexis Sanchez at this point in his career, I'm disappointed.
There you have it. All right. Well, his salary, not bad. $500,000 a week. And by the way, in the last 60 games he's played, 6 goals. Pretty good goal per dollar ratio.
I'm pretty sure his apartment in Miami is better than mine. I'm just going to suggest that.
You're not neighbors in the same building?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.